What is up and welcome back. If this is your first time watching, we are your Colorado real estate family. What we're going to be doing in this video right here is we're going to be uncovering 5 things that you might want to consider whether or not Fort Collins is right or wrong for you. The first thing that we are going to be covering is that cost of living. This is something that is on so many people's minds with the inflation that we have been experiencing. If they are relocating from somewhere, what is that cost of living going to look like? Now, when we approach a cost of living in a lot of these videos, we like to use that cost of living index where 100 is your national average. If it's above that, it's more expensive. And if it's below it, obviously it's cheaper than your national average. So if we're looking at Fort Collins as a whole, your overall number comes in at a 115.7. If we compare that to the state of Colorado actually comes in at a 120.5. So a little bit cheaper than your Colorado cost of living index, which is nice to know. I will say though, over the last few years, this number has been going up dramatically. If we were looking at this back in like probably 5 years ago in regards to Fort Collins, the housing prices were much lower and a lot of these other items were so much lower compared to the state of Colorado. And that's what made it such a popular city to move into over the last few years. Actually, I think it was 2020 or 2021. It was rated one of the top spots to live in the United States, and so it gained so much popularity. Actually, I'd say like the northern Colorado area gained so much popularity over the last few years. What is Loveland coming at though? When we're comparing it to this other city that's south that so many people are choosing over Fort Collins, Loveland actually comes in overall at the same number overall at a 115.7. So those two, comparing apples to apples, they come in right at the same cost of living index number. Let's break these down into categories though and see if Loveland might be cheaper than Fort Collins or vice versa in regards to a few of these items. The first one that we are going to be talking about is your groceries. This number, it's funny, every time we compare it, it's like, you know what, it's groceries. It varies slightly compared to each one, but let's just kind of look at it. What is Fort Collins looking like in compared to Colorado and then also Loveland? Groceries cost of living index in Fort Collins is going to be a 101.1, so a little bit higher than your national average. Colorado comes in at a 100.7, so a little bit more expensive than Colorado. You might see a few of those, you know, local owned grocery stores within Fort Collins. That might be what's driving that number up, because they do still have your large box stores. We're talking about Walmart, King Soopers, kind of these larger grocery stores up in Fort Collins, as we also do see in the Denver metro area. Let's compare it over into Loveland. What is Loveland coming in at with that cost of living index for your groceries? You're looking at a 99.7. So it's interesting to see that Loveland is a little bit cheaper on your groceries on this cost of living index, because I could see them having the same, you know, kind of local mom and pop grocery stores that you could potentially have up in Fort Collins. Loveland is coming in a little bit cheaper on those groceries though. The next one is interesting. We're going to dive into that cost of living index for your health in Fort Collins. It comes in right at an 87.5. Compared to Colorado, actually comes in at 83.8. If we compare that over to Loveland, Loveland comes in very similar at the 87.5 as Fort Collins. Fort Collins and Loveland are going to be using a lot of the same hospitals and hospital systems. That might be a big reason why they are the same number as compared to Colorado. Your health is going to be a little bit more expensive in this northern Colorado area as compared to Colorado State as a whole. Housing, this one's always interesting because this is where our real estate really does come into play. If we're looking at that cost of living index on housing in Fort Collins, it's at a 167.2. Funny thing is the state of Colorado comes the exact same number, 167.2. Quick note on that, these numbers do incorporate whether you're looking to purchase or rent a house, apartment, condo, all those things within the city of Fort Collins. Loveland is going to be coming in a little bit lower than that though, at a 148.9. So Loveland, in regards to housing, is going to be a little bit cheaper as compared to Fort Collins or even the state of Colorado. Utilities is another one of those cost of living index that we break into. Fort Collins comes in at a 91.3. The state of Colorado comes in at a 98.4, and then Loveland at a 91.9. Fort Collins is going to take the cake on both of these with utilities. It is going to be cheaper than your Colorado cost of living index, and then also Loveland. A little bit cheaper, not that big of a difference in regards to utilities. It's a good thing to know though that you are going to be paying a little bit less on utilities over in Fort Collins. The final cost of living item that we are going to be covering is your transportation. So we're just talking about pretty much the cost to, you know, insure your automobiles up there, the auto maintenance, even public transit up in Fort Collins. You're looking at an 87.4. If we compare that to the state of Colorado, Colorado comes in at a 106.7. So that's a dramatic shift right there with the cost of transportation up in Fort Collins. If we compare that to Loveland, Loveland's at a 94.7. cheaper than Loveland, cheaper than Colorado, but this northern Colorado area is definitely going to be a little bit cheaper in regards to those transportation costs within Colorado. The second item that we're going to be going over that we like to hit on constantly, because these things constantly change. We are really expecting potentially a big year for real estate in 2024. It's just, I mean, everyone's saying that projected interest rates are going to be going down this summer. We will still see what happens. They have gone down a little bit in Q1 of 2024 as compared to, you know, the Q4 of 2023. But let's see if that's a trend. If that is a trend, we do expect the fact that real estate's going to really blow up this summer for people to try and take advantage of those lower interest rates. Let's break into those numbers of what is the median sales price of homes going for in Fort Collins, Colorado. Real quick before we hop on to that next topic, guys, if this is content that you guys are loving, do us a huge favor, give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, give us the notification bell, that we're notified every single time that we put out a brand new video. If you are planning on calling Colorado your home, give us a call or text that phone number right below. Right below right there, we have the best team of licensed real estate agents to help you out with all your real estate needs. Your overall median sales price, we're talking about your single family coupled in with your attached products. And the one number, you're looking at a median sales price of $526,000, and that is actually up 7.33% year over year. These numbers are as of December of 2023. We have not gotten those January numbers in yet because we are still in the month of January. But just a quick note on that. So from 2022 to 2023, that number is up 7.33%. If we break that into just your single family homes, your median sales price is $538,000. And that number is up 4.48% year over year. When we talk about your attached products, we're talking about your condos, townhouses, and row homes. You're looking at a median sales price of $380,000, and that is up 2.66% year over year. If this year does end up being a boom for real estate in Fort Collins with those interest rates being lowered, if those interest rates do end up going down, expect that number to go up, because I could say that like 2023 wasn't the best year for real estate in Colorado and actually across the United States because of those higher interest rates. But if we end up seeing those rates go down this summer, you could potentially be looking at a bidding war. So it's like, all right, do I wait for this summer for the interest rates to go down? Or the other thing too is like, do I look at purchasing right now, expecting those interest rates to go down this summer and then just refi out? That way I'm not having to battle against all these other buyers who are looking at getting into the market this summer. It's something that it's like we can't predict the future over here, guys. All we're seeing is this is what all the experts or all the analysts are saying about this year, that they are going to be lowering those interest rates. The question is, if it does happen, would you either purchase now and then refinance down the road, already have your home in place? It's almost as if trying to predict the stock market, right? It's if everyone knew what was going to happen, everyone would be a millionaire overnight, but we don't know what's going to happen. Whether or not I decide to purchase now and not have to do those bidding wars, or then look forward to the summer purchasing, then you might potentially run into those bidding wars. The third thing that I really wanted to hit is the proximity of Fort Collins, because if you are planning on moving into Colorado, say if you are going to be working out of Denver, or say, I mean, if you're working remote, you want to know what your proximity is going to be to the few things that might be near you or that aren't near you. So let's go and break it. The first one, right, is the proximity of Fort Collins over into Denver. If we're talking about the heart of Fort Collins, pretty much downtown Fort Collins, you're looking at about an hour and 10 minutes, and that's minus traffic. Once you hit traffic, easily look forward to probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get into downtown Denver. So it goes back on, okay, if I'm working in downtown Denver, do I want to have that long of a commute into Denver? And I hear so many times of those of you who are coming from like the East Coast or even like the West Coast, LA and all those things, guys, your traffic really isn't that bad. I'm used to commuting 2 hours one way just to get my current position right now. Whether or not you do want to take that on, if you are going to have your job established within Denver. Another proximity that we want to discuss is DIA, or Denver International Airport, which is the airport that you are going to be accessing for the majority of those flights. You're looking at about an hour, 18 minutes minus the toll. If you decide to throw the toll into that mix, it's going to make it about an hour and 6 minutes. Again, guys, this is without traffic. If you do have traffic though, I'm betting that you guys are probably going to want to use that toll, because that makes that commute so much easier. Just pretty much having to hop. It's north of Highway 7 on the north side of Thornton. Hop it on that and then no traffic all the way down into DIA. The toll is quite expensive though. I believe that Elena says that it's usually because she lives up in Loveland, Colorado, one of our agents. I think she says it's pretty much $10 to get from I-25 all the way around into DIA, taking that toll as opposed to taking I-25 down to I-70 and then I-70 straight east out to the airport, having to potentially deal with that traffic. Something to really kind of keep in mind, whereas if you are getting to the airport, which way would be best for you. Another proximity we want to talk about is if you want to take advantage of that ski life within Colorado. So many of you who are moving here want to take advantage of that ski life, want to get up into the mountains, hit the powder first thing in the morning. The ski resort that we always reference when we're talking about Denver or any of these other cities is Loveland Ski, which is going to be your main ski resort on the east side of the Eisenhower Tunnel, so you're not having to cross over the Eisenhower Tunnel. Why do we do that ski resort? I actually just had family members who were on the opposite side of the tunnel taking a little trip into Glenwood. Guys, they got stuck because a snowstorm hit them. I've gotten stuck before too, going snowboarding over at Copper Mountain on the other side of the Eisenhower. So some people are choosing to do this Loveland ski area. That way, if there is a snowstorm in the future on that day that they are skiing, they're not stuck on the other side of the tunnel for the night and having to spend the night in their car. It's not the best thing. I've personally had to do it. My family members, luckily, were able to find a friend on that side, so they were able to stay with them. But Loveland Ski is the one that we always really reference. You're looking at roughly, I'd say like 2 hours to get from Fort Collins over into Loveland Ski, again with that ski traffic. Don't be surprised if that happens to be a 4-hour commute when that traffic is super heavy on like the weekends. Everyone trying to get up into the mountains to do their skiing. The last thing that I want to mention why so many people do love Fort Collins is the proximity to the mountains. And Horsetooth is a major reservoir that a lot of people like to go hiking, canoeing, biking, boating. We always talk about all those boating bros going up there doing all the wakeboarding, their water skiing, and all those great things. You're only looking at 15 minutes from the heart of downtown Fort Collins up into Horsetooth. So many people enjoy that. They love the active lifestyle that is up at Horsetooth. You got camping up there as well too. If you want to go camping, we also have like Red Feather. They have a bunch of campsites up there. So if you are wanting to take advantage of the mountains, that proximity to the mountains cannot be beat when we are talking about Fort Collins, Colorado. Now let's cover the fourth thing. Let's say all these things are great for you. It's like, I still want to live within Fort Collins. You really need to consider where you want to live within Fort Collins. If you're deciding to choose like downtown Fort Collins, just know you have Colorado State University right there. And so you have the influx of college students coming in and out during school season. So the population pretty much goes like this. You know, summer drops down a little bit because the college students aren't going to be there. And then during school season, it's going to go up a little bit. So you're going to have all those college activities, all those college students within downtown. There is the outskirts of Fort Collins though, and there's a lot of these like great lake communities where you have these houses surrounding these small bodies of water. So many people who live in Fort Collins are taking advantage of that. Another consideration to take into mind is how close you want to be to I-25, because a lot of Fort Collins that is developing is closer to I-25. That way you do have an easier commute down into Denver, down to the airport and all these things. So like if we're talking about Fort Collins, even Loveland, Johnstown, all these areas are building right along the highway. So that's where you're gonna find a lot of, you know, your Costco's. Timnath, they just shut down. There was talks about being a Topgolf. Topgolf was looking to put a new location up at Timnath, but Timnath did shut it down in the summer of last year. But then also you've got, you know, like it used to be the Budweiser Event Center. Now it's the Blue Event Center. That's where you have your minor league hockey team up there, the Eagles. You also have, you know, if you have any concerts and stuff like that, a lot of people like to take advantage of the area. If you like shopping, you have the Santerra shops where a lot of people like going shopping in and around there. Shields is one of my kids' favorite. That's over in Johnstown on the east side of I-25 across from Loveland. An outdoor spot that my kids personally love to go to all the freaking time. Also think about what kind of living you want, because a lot of these newer developments that we are seeing are going in closer to the highway. So if you want that newer suburbia, like the new style suburbia area, you might want to be closer to or on the east side of Fort Collins, even the east side of Loveland, where Santerra is blowing up like crazy with a lot of these newer developments as well. The fifth and final thing that we want to know in regards to Fort Collins, Colorado is it is a super active lifestyle up there, guys. We've already kind of talked about Horsetooth, kind of taking advantage of that lake life, and then also all the hiking, biking, canoeing, paddleboarding, all the different stuff that you can do over there. But then also Fort Collins is considered a platinum level bicycle city, which not exactly sure what that means, but I just know that they do have it. When you constantly like Google like top biking cities or top bicycle friendly cities in the US, Fort Collins is constantly mentioned because between it and Boulder, I think they both go kind of back and forth. They are a great city for bicyclists, and Fort Collins takes a lot of pride in having that platinum level status. Let's say that you aren't super active though, you were looking more to take advantage of that nightlife in Fort Collins. You are gonna find it up in Fort Collins, or even the brewery scene. They have a fantastic brewery scene up in Fort Collins. They actually have 20 craft breweries located within the city. Actually, I think it's probably more than that because I looked it up. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is an old stat. They also have the 4th largest craft brewery in the United States in New Belgium. So if you want to do that brewery hopping, you can do that. They do have a pretty awesome nightlife in that downtown Fort Collins area. I've got to take advantage of it a few times. We actually had a wedding up there where the after party was at downtown Fort Collins. Gets a little crazy down there, especially during school season when you have all those college students kind of flocking into the downtown. So quick note on that if you are wanting to take advantage of that nightlife, it will be there in Fort Collins. All right, guys, we brought you all these different things. Of course, if you have any questions or if there's anything that I did not cover in this video, let us know in the comments down below. But if there's content that you are loving and you are planning on calling Colorado your home, more specifically today Fort Collins, give us a call or text that phone number right below. Right below there, we always answer. It doesn't matter date or time. But if you aren't quite ready to purchase yet, why don't you just follow us along by hitting that subscribe button, thumbs up, notification bell. That way you're notified every single time that we put out a brand new video. And until next time, we love you. Bye.